Yo, is this the vet? Yeah, who's this? Take a guess. Camel? That you? Think so, can't really tell right now. Quick one though, dangerous amount for an adult camel. Dangerous amount of what? Hypothetically crack. Bruv, camels can't have drugs, you die. Good, just checking for a friend cause I'm high as a kite. Waffling conspiracies again, triple wrapped in for one hat a hump, built different desert lungs info, dump pump. Speaking of humps, you want some crack? Gotta be another bloody Monday in it. Gotta be another bloody Monday in it. Crack pipe on Monday, cycle every Sunday. Camel finance run play 3, 1, 1. Crack pipe Monday, cycle every Sunday. Camel finance run play 3, 1, 1. Oh yes, guess who's back? Reload that. Financial Monday, camel on crack. Controlled demolition, markets collapse, inflation stats, smoke and mirrors impact. Fed selected with the data they show. Transparency, nah, that's a no-no. Stealth QE, but it's not QE though. Rename the scheme and nobody knows. Alphabet agency soup in a bowl. Billionaire puppets all playing a role. For police lurking, monitor scroll. Step out of line, they blacklist your soul. What was that? Trigger brigade can't handle chat. MPC mode with the firmware flat. Diversity, strength, but don't think past that. On a Monday in it. Camel coin like Monday. Flag off every Sunday. Camel finance run play 3, 1, 1. Camel coin like Monday. Flag off every Sunday. Camel finance run play 3, 1, 1. Engagement farming, outrage charting, algo feeds on fear-based marketing. Operation Dawn, surveillance state. Wrong thing flagged in a digital gate. Post one meme, career on a plate. Vote if you like, but don't debate. Got an opinion, better keep hush, unless it aligns with a sanction push. Peasants restless, increase the rush. Flood the system, watch it crush. We shout, they post for the cam. Crisis theater, moral spam. Gaslight stats, sweep and ban. Nothing to see here, trust the plan. Aliens trending, wars on cue. Epstein files vanished too. Inquiry pending, overdue. Captain sinking, scared to crew. Grow crane trips, virtue script, morality merchandise, tightly gripped. If any patient traded, deals well flipped. Meanwhile, markets get short-term whips. Everyone gone mad or just distracted. Back. Bruv, you tweak and drink water, relax. Wait, what's the topic again? Bitcoin market cycle trading. You know, your channel. Ah, yeah. Camel Crew born ready for bear. Front run fear while they staring at despair. Treasure hunt mode, suited and rare. Liquidity pools, yeah, we there. No walk zone, race to the floor. Black on black when the candles get raw. Break out, fake out, stacks on more. Cycle theory, open the door. Big man camel, locked in stance. Horror clown when the bulls miss dance. Open interest, set that chance. Pavlov dogs in a leverage trance. Forced eject when the margin snaps. Promo traders, fall in traps. Camel finance maps the gaps. Back to back with the weekly cap. Crack pipe Monday, charts go mad. Cycle trader, not too bad. Bear market, we don't get sad. Crack pipe Monday, charts go mad. Cycle trader, not too bad. Bear market, we don't get sad. Crack pipe Monday, say it loud. Camel Crew don't follow crowd. Tin foil triple. Crack pipe Monday, pump and prune them up. You know, a little bass lows and the bassline growls. So. No more crack talk, yeah? Nah, bruv.
Oh, hello. Wow. A sheep herder going in. Oh, they never cease to amaze me how good these tunes are. So yeah, massive shout out to Gizmo for that. I did put a link in the chat if anyone is interested. Thanks again to Gizmo / sheep herder, double XL or triple XL, I forget. But yeah, how's it going, everyone? Fired up. Generational intro is correct. Yeah. Thank you all for being here. I got a few tabs to run through. I thought we would kind of breeze through those. I'll be honest, most of them are just going to be me pointing at oil and being like, yeah, I don't believe it, even though it's gone up a lot. We'll see. Maybe this is going to be something I'm flat wrong on, but I'll show you again that I don't really buy it. And then, yeah, we'll have a quick look at some charts. Not that anything's changed since Saturday, of course. Loud and clear. Thank you, bros. Shark in the house. What's up, bro? Yeah, so we'll just do that, and then you guys can ask as many questions as you've got, and we'll just hang out a minute. I'm going to set a timer on my phone for 50 minutes, and then when that's up, we will set another one for 10 minutes, and hopefully that will contain this to about an hour. Because I have a terrible habit of saying, all right, I'll stay for 5 more minutes, and then we end up staying for another 2 hours, and these streams are nearly 3 hours long. So, Mark in the building. How's it going, bro? JME on the track. No, all these tracks are AI produced, believe it or not, which is wild. Absolutely wild. I see Miss O in the house as well. Thanks for being here. Yeah, they're all AI produced, but Gizmo is extremely good at prompting them and editing. I think he actually writes some of the lyrics, if not all of the lyrics, and then just gets AI to kind of knit the track together. I think pretty insane. Yeah, 50 minutes. Yeah, right. We'll see, mate. We'll see. There's a first time for everything. So anyway, let's run through a few tabs real quick. What we got? Okay. Wait, let me, for my own sanity. Yeah, that's fine. So not that I'm much of a futures kind of pre-market watcher, tape slave kind of guy, but the futures are pretty red today. Meanwhile, we have got oil, which is pretty green. Okay, historic move for oil, as we're going to talk about. Now, already we have seen a massive gap up and go to about $120 for oil, and since then it has pulled all the way back down to 100. So I don't really want to call a top. I can't call a top here. Okay, I can't say let's jump in front of a train and go short yet without a setup, because that would make me a hypocrite and would be 180-degree opposite to the type of clean setup that is confirmed that we can manage risk around that I preach trading on this channel. Okay, but sorry if I punched the mic there. But I do think that this is not sustainable. Okay, now call me crazy, but even on the weekend's deep dive, it was kind of funny. I was making a joke and I did that silly high-pitched voice about going to see your grandma on the weekend and she being like, oh, my oil's gone up, right? I was joking around at this. Anyway, I went to see my auntie and my mum on Sunday, and the first thing my auntie said to me was, oh, Camel, how are you coping with this oil situation, right? And then her son, my cousin, phones her up to catch up with her or whatever, and she passes the phone over to me. Hello, cuzzy, how's it going? Bro, have you seen the price of oil? And I was thinking, mate, this is 100% confirming I'm on the right side of this trade, right? Like, this is going to be a gnarly short, and I think a lot of people that are chasing this move are about to get hurt. Now, does that mean we go short today? No. Okay, does it mean I couldn't be wrong? Of course not. But the crude oil ETF spiked 33% over the last week. Okay, it's a 6 sigma event. So assuming a normal distribution is only supposed to occur once every 4 million odd years. Okay, so again, I don't think this move is sustainable. I don't think that this is going to stick, and I think this is going to sharply reverse. Of course, I could be wrong, but if you're in the comments now thinking, Camel, come on, what are you talking about? This is clearly the start of a new bull market and all that stuff. Okay, just know this. Jim Cramer does not see any de-escalation either. Okay? Okay? So, I mean, sometimes he's right. Sometimes he is. But I don't believe that this is the right side of the trade. Okay? I believe that this is about to reverse. And I wanted to show you this as well because, I mean, look at this. Okay, now again, I'm not just saying let's go short here because there's no real setup, okay, but this is soon to violate. The more vertical the lines are, the more prone to failure they are. And I have to say, okay, it doesn't look like a big run up, does it? That's not what it looks like. You know what it looks like? The move from the 90s, where we saw this, okay, straight up and then straight back down. And this is kind of what I'm expecting to occur here. And I could be really wrong, of course, but I just think I think something like this is coming. I don't know why. And I don't know. You know, occasionally I say my contrarian blood is boiling. That's exactly how I feel here. And again, it could be wrong, but normally when I start to get really annoyed at people, I mean, it's even more insane than that, look, you know? So call me crazy, all right? But this is just what I think is coming next. And then down into that 4-year cycle low. Maybe the 4-year cycle low forms as a higher low, and that actually is the lows here, okay? But I just got a funny feeling this is coming, okay? Now, again, it could be cope, and maybe we're going straight to $200 a barrel. I don't know, right? But I don't really want to take Kramer's side here, or Kramer, whatever his name is. And I also don't want to take this side of the trade with record call volume, okay? And my auntie, the first thing she says to me is, what are you doing about oil? Okay, I'm just saying. Anyway, so far I've been wrong. That's the absolute truth of it, but we'll see if we can catch the short at the top. I will say this as well. For those of you that haven't seen this, oil spikes right into recessionary periods and then crashes, okay? Notice the timelines down the bottom, okay? And what have we got here? Since then, we're no longer at $64. We've made it to about $1.20, haven't we? Okay, and then started to pull back. And if what comes next is a recession, I mean, kind of fits the expectation, right? I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to say we thought oil would pop up to $120 a barrel. I didn't. I think we might be able to sweep this high at sort of $77 or whatever. Obviously, we've gone way further than I thought. But if it does roll over and we get a recession now, I would say the recession part, okay, is of course normal to be expected. So there's that as well. Now, maybe I am just confirmation bias in my way through this, and maybe I'm just completely wrong. Okay, I don't know. I don't know at this moment. But we're also looking at the yields. Okay, the yields are coming off. They are saying that there's no inflation narrative out there at the moment. Okay, and again, it's another case to tell that to the bond market, just like we saw in '08. So similar deal. Okay. And at the same time, I noticed this, okay? Now, Henrik is saying the Fed's going to cut on the 18th of March. Again, I say tell that to the bond market. This thing couldn't load earlier. I couldn't get this thing to load. But as far as I know, it hasn't repriced significantly at all. It's still 90-something% in favor of being paused. Here we go. It's done it now. Okay, 97%. So, Henrik, tell that to the bond market. I don't think we're getting a cut without this repricing and without the yields rolling over. And I don't think there's enough time between now and the 18th, okay? But what I do know, objectively speaking, is that 18th timeline, okay, is right inside of the daily cycle low window, okay? Perfect day 40 would be the 18th or the 17th. I think this is 39. Yeah, so perfect day 40 would be the 18th. And of course, what is the 18th? FOMC, okay? So if you know, you know. Cycles are in control, everything else is narrative. It doesn't matter if they cut or not, because the cycle will bottom into that timing window, and then we'll at least get a few days of left translation and failure in the worst case scenario. We'll at least get some new relief out of there. And, you know, in the best case scenario, we somehow manage to force an early weekly cycle low in there and then move higher. But at the moment, it looks suspiciously to me like we're setting up for weekly cycle failure here. The close on Friday was, I don't know, about 3% maybe from weekly cycle failure for the S&P 500. We're now going to be way closer to weekly cycle failure, aren't we? Right? The low of today is probably about 1% away from the weekly cycle failure. So there's that. Okay, so long as we can hold above the weekly cycle, then I think we have got a chance. Okay, but it's going to need a lot to change. And it's kind of weird, actually, because as I'm saying this, I'm realizing what I'm saying kind of conflicts with itself. So I'm saying that I still have to remain bearish the stock market, and we're probably topped for the 4-year cycle. We've probably got a spill into the weekly cycle and then this into the 4-year low. Okay, I'm saying that that's probably been led by Bitcoin, which has got a similar deal. I'll ignore this. Okay, this was some kind of troll chart I was putting on Twitter. Let's do this. Goodness sake, sorry about this. Totally unprepared, as you can see. But you can see how I use this data window. Now we'll use this as an exercise. What are we going to call this? Troll season. Drag all of this into there. Boom. And then turn this off. And then we will turn on. Oh, that can all go in there as well. Look at me go. And then somewhere in here is cycles current TA. Here we go. Okay. So, wait, we don't need that. We just need this. Here we go. So yeah, probably led by Bitcoin, right? Probably still down into the middle of the year for its weekly cycle low, even though it could, of course, retest sort of 80k if we're lucky, plus or minus 5k there before rolling over. Okay, all of that fits, and I'm saying all of this is going to happen. Okay, and as I'm saying this, I'm also saying that somehow there's going to be a resolution for oil, and oil is going to fade and come back down here somewhere, and that people that are thinking World War III is around the corner, or that this is going to last months and months and months and only get worse for the rest of the year, I'm saying those people are flat wrong and on Jim Cramer's side, and my auntie agrees with you. Okay, but notice how the two don't really match. Like, if this is all going to disappear practically overnight, and my auntie's wrong to be concerned about oil, as is Cramer, as is your average normie retail investor, if they're all wrong, then wouldn't we kind of think we've got a chance here at seeing something more like this at least? I don't know. We will see, right? We'll see. Oftentimes things conflict, and then it turns out one's right and one's wrong. We'll figure it out. Anyway, that's my stance, okay? My stance is, yes, I did not expect oil to move up this high, but I actually don't think it changes anything, and my contrarian blood is boiling here, which normally is a sign that everyone else is wrong, okay? Normally. Doesn't have to be that way this time, but we'll see about that. I wanted to quickly point at some fractals before we move on. Oh, and of course we have to notice the FOMC rate cuts or lack thereof. At the moment, bond market says no rate cuts, but FOMC bottoms here. And then the last couple of things are check out the fractals. Okay, loads and loads of cool fractals. This says we top right here right now, you know, bear market decline. Okay, 4-year cycle low perhaps coming. This one says look out below, limit down today. I don't think it's that one. Okay, I also don't think it's re-acceleration in the economy and resumption of bull market or 5-year cycles. I think it's much more likely something like this into the 4-year low. Maybe something like 66 is a good fit. Something like this would work too. This I don't think works, but could work. Okay, up into the middle of the year, and then we have a nasty correction down. That would be conducive, I think, to a good counter-trend bounce in Bitcoin. But again, the weekly profile of the cycles doesn't fit. I don't think we can say it's up only. I just don't think that looks likely at this point. Okay, so probably a correction into one of these 4-year lows, something like this, I think makes a lot of sense. But you can see there's still plenty of fractals that we could use to point upwards, as is always the case with fractals. That's why I often lovingly refer to them as the crayons of TA, because they're only really useful for YouTubers to illustrate their bias or confirm their bias. Having said that, that is a lot of what I've been doing with oil this morning, so we're all guilty of it. And then the last thing I wanted to point out, okay, is 48k coming, okay? And I think probably something like that is actually the most probabilistic outcome based on the cycles, okay? There's a lot of lick down here, okay? And when we go to the cycles of Bitcoin, as we kind of already showed you earlier, we are still down until the kind of May, June time frame, May, June, July, maybe, somewhere in here would be a normal and to be expected weekly cycle low, okay? So does that mean we've got to quickly sweep down here, maybe take the lick from down here at 49k, just maybe sweep this or something like that, okay? And then we can talk about a good bit of relief for a couple of months, I would think, okay? And then we can talk about, again, whether or not we've got to find another 4-year low lower down. Ignore the price, okay? It's not supposed to predict price here, it's just time more than anything. But we're already pretty close, aren't we? Like, it's not that far away before things start to get good vibes again and we start to get, if I draw a window here, I would say somewhere in here, we get some trade opportunities, okay, in time, somewhere in here. And then somewhere in here, it's time to actually start looking for a macro bottom and a resumption of a new bull market and a bunch of QE and all of the types of performance that we've just seen over the last sort of 3 years, okay? So good vibes are coming. It's just a case of kind of weathering this storm, not doing too much, not getting wrecked on the way down, not trying to force any bottoms, as I keep saying, okay? Lots of people are like, oh, look, I'm nibbling Mara here or whatever just because it was 7, okay? But, I don't think that's the way to go. So anyway, the last couple of things to point at. Gold, I've seen a lot of people still trying to call a top on, but here we go. First drive, second drive, daily low, probably this week, I should think. Inside the window is the indicator we'll show you in a minute. And then off we go again. Same is true for everything else. And in the meantime, it's just a case of seeing what the market will give, really. And that's it, I think. That's all I have to say. So, yeah, okay. I will hop into some chat and comments and see what people are saying. Let me have a sip of drink first. Scroll back a bit. Oh, we'll do these. Guy with rice. Still waiting for your signed empty water bottle. Oh, you are right. Actually, email me again. I said I would send you something, but I don't think we can do the water bottle. I think I did email you that. Remind me, though. Email me again. I'll send you something. Enjoy it, though. Live chat. You've heard that auto is a great indicator for if we are in a recession. Have you looked at Ford? I haven't. No, I haven't. It's not something I track. There's actually not a great deal that I do track, to be honest. Look at that stuff. No, I don't think so. Could Nova be a runner? I don't think now is the time to be looking for runners. I think now is the time to be trying to figure out if the market's actually about to go into a massive risk-off period. Because you've got to think, if something like this is coming next, what we saw in Q1 of last year, okay, something like this comes next, then it looks fine. It looks like, okay, we know what happens. We just have a spill and then we rally out of there and we just buy the dip, okay? But if this happens to the S&P, you've got to think, crypto stocks back here were 60-70% off their highs. The Mag 7 took massive dives in here, and the Mag 7 are already looking in pretty bad shape. Okay, absolutely everything got destroyed during this time period. Bitcoin dropped something like 30% in this same window. So is Bitcoin going to drop another 30% from here? It wasn't really something I was super looking forward for or calling for, but then again, 45-ish K would give us a 30-ish% decline, wouldn't it? So I don't know if we want to be like, oh yeah, is this thing going to bounce? Because HIMS is, it's had a hyperwave violation. Okay, yeah, fine, it's having a counter trend rally from here, but it's still a long way off its hyperwave target, isn't it? So I don't know. I mean, you can play the gap if you want to play the gap. Maybe you're already in from the lows, but if, again, you've got to think whatever happens here, if something like that spill is coming next, for the stocks, and we're about to head into recession. And maybe I'm wrong about the war dying down, and it doesn't. It just keeps on getting worse, and we get real bad oil, like $250 oil, and then, it drags CPI up perhaps, or the consumer gets even more damaged because they can't afford their heating and their fuel bills and stuff. If all of that stuff starts to occur, then it's going to be time to hunker down and stay defensive, not kind of be buying gaps on HIMs because we're worried we might miss the move or something like that. Okay, I mean, you do you, of course, but I'm just telling you how my line of thinking is at the moment. I want to be defensive. I want to keep my cash pile high so that I'm ready to actually buy these dips. Okay, because you don't want something like this to occur, and then not only have you not got capital to take advantage of it, but you've also destroyed your psyche and your emotional status so that you can't even mentally pull the trigger down here, because it's easy to point at it now and say, I'll buy there. Okay, but when it actually happens, go back and watch the content we were making here. People were furious with me trying to insist we were going to call the bottom here. Okay, they were furious for me that I was saying it's time to be contrarian, it's time to buy the blood, right? People were like, you've been calling for a recession, it's finally here, and now you're in denial, right? They were absolutely fuming here at the idea of buying. And I was going live back here for Bitcoin and begging people to buy the weekly cycle low and not quit the space, okay? And so if this happens, like I said, it's easy now to say, I can't wait to buy the S&P down at 5,200. When we're there, it is going to seem like World War III is certain. It's absolutely, there's a good chance, if I am absolutely on the money, okay, that there's going to be some sort of UFO disclosure or alien black swan in this type of neighborhood, okay? And then the last thing most people are going to be thinking about is buying the dip. I can assure you of that. So just think about it, right? Go slow, I think, is a much more prudent approach here. Not on your Monday bingo card to have a Camel live. Yeah, that's true. I'm unusually busy this week. I've got to go and get a bunch of bait tomorrow, and then I'm going fishing most of Wednesday, or all day Wednesday. Actually, I'm not even sure how I'm going to post yet. We might have to skip a video on Wednesday. Thursday, I'm taking the wife away to go and do some adventure stuff for Mother's Day, a little early. And then Friday is my brother's birthday meal. Saturday, we're doing some party thing for my brother. Sunday is Mother's Day. So half with my wife and half with my mother. And yeah, and in between all of that, I'm in the middle of buying a new property. My car needs another carbon fiber lip because... because this is what owning cars is like, just non-stop bleeding money. So I've got to try and fit all this stuff in. I can't remember why I bought this up now. Oh, and I wanted to squeeze a live in while we had the chance. There you go, because I'm unusually busy. So yeah, we've got a surprise live in. Hopefully this will make up for any lack of content that shows up this week. You're calling the market crash. You don't know how many more signs you guys need. I mean, we could definitely bounce out of here. I don't think it's over yet. I do think, if you look at where the cycles are, though, it's probably at least 65% probability that we have seen the top for the stock market. I think Bitcoin is like 20% likely to make new highs this cycle. Maybe less than that. Bitcoin is almost certainly topped. The Mag 7, which are the leaders, remember, they've topped. Okay, this is bad. This is getting worse and worse and worse, isn't it? It's not getting better. So even if we do get some relief, and I expect to get some relief mid-year after we sell off and after the war thing disappears and oil comes back down, and I'm sure there's going to be some trade opportunities, but even if we get that relief, it probably looks more like this, right? Lower high, bear market, 4-year low. And again, you've got to remember, right now, it's easy for me to point at this and you start going, yep, awesome. Can't wait, bring it on. I'm going to go short. I'm going to play the fade in the middle, summer, right? I'm going to play this to the long side, then I'm going to go short again, and then I'm going to ape this low, and I'm going to be a billionaire. It's easy to say that now, like I said, a million times, but it's really true. Like, when you actually get down there, no one wants to buy it, okay? So a lot of preparation is needed. Can I look at Solana anal OS? Is that what you mean? When do I reckon we'll start to see oil reverse again? Well, I don't know. I'm not in the business of just throwing a dart and hoping for the best here. Okay, I could guess a date, but I don't want to do that. I want to say when we lose this trend line, I think it's going to be time to start setting up a short trade and using the high, wherever the high is at the time, as a area on the chart to manage the risk around. Late to the party. We'll do your anal OS as well. I mean, Camel's hot dog, bearish below, super bearish ever since. I think it just has to continue. The 4-year cycles are down, aren't they? You know, it's just not a good look, unfortunately. And we're probably going to do another Camel's hot dog pattern from here as well, aren't we? Okay, so I could probably zoom in here. Why are we on log? There we go. And do another one of these, right? You kind of have to be bullish above and bearish below, and everything in the middle is no man's land. How delayed is his chat? I mean, probably quite delayed. It's always pretty delayed. TLT long now. We're already long TLT, have been for a while, and we'll add on weakness, I think. If we have a big spill in the S&P, is it likely to take gold and the miners with it? Yes. If it's a crash, yes. And panic sets in, yes. And if we just kind of have an orderly walk down and most people don't really spot it until it's too late, then no, there's probably more highs left. I'm going to assume the metals and miners are bullish until we get daily cycle failure, basically. Isn't Henrik perma bear? Sky is falling. I think he's kind of like me, I think. I think he's calling for much higher numbers and then the end of the world financially. I think he's maybe a little bit more bearish when we turn down than I am. I think he's probably a little bit more bullish before then as well. But I think ultimately we're saying roughly the same thing. We disagree on, I think, yields and gold and altcoins and Bitcoin. But we were in alignment for a lot of the last cycle. Did you miss gold and silver talk? Not really. Daily cycle low, go long, set that as invalidation, and let the market do what it's going to do. What's my upside inval for Bitcoin? Well, I mean, we need to get back above that weekly cycle failure and then close higher lows, don't we? Otherwise, there's just no chance. There's no chance that... I mean, if you think about what cycle failure means, here's a cycle low, okay, weekly cycle. We failed it by closing below, which implies the upcoming weekly low will form lower than this one did, okay? So we have to be at least forming this low, lower than this one. And it would be kind of weird if we didn't form lower than this half cycle bit in the middle. Okay, it'd be weird if we did this, wouldn't it? Weekly cycle low in here. Not impossible, but it would just look a bit strange. So we're kind of saying, based on the cycles, this low here will form lower than this one as well. Okay, something like this maybe. And then if we're going to invalidate this bearish setup, we have to say, well, that weekly cycle failure back here is no longer the case. It's no longer the base case. How do we do that? Well, we have to get back above it like this, okay? And then we can talk about going. Otherwise, you know, that is the weekly cycle when we failed. If we do this yellow squiggle here, then maybe this is the weekly cycle, okay? And it just way overextended, and then we can talk. But at the moment, that's just super unlikely, and we can't even really discuss it until we decisively flip that 80K level back into support. If you had a workplace pension, what would your stance be right now? What is a workplace pension? What, you mean like one the company holds instead of a SIP? I mean, how am I supposed to answer that? Because I don't know what it involves. Is it final salary scheme? How old are you? How long have you been there? How much have you been contributing? What's it invested in? What's its return rate? There's all these other factors. I've had a SIP forever. But I guess that makes sense, given what I do for a living. I also haven't worked for the man in a very long time. So that's another, you know, I'm probably a bit out of the loop when it comes to that stuff. Oh, I am super behind the chat. Is Nat Gas also prone to follow-up? I mean, maybe. I kind of was... I did the same thing with Nat Gas, didn't I? People were like, oh, here we go, Camel. And it had this big pop-up, and then I said, ultimately, it's probably going to end up down here. And I still think that's the case. Now, again, I could be wrong, and we could see a new high. But I think this is basically what oil is going to do. Trap everyone into thinking it's a new bull market, ruin their lives, and then when we're down here, they won't want to buy it. And that's when the Camel Crew can step in. That's the base case, and it's been the base case. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't really expect this to happen for Nat Gas, as you can see. My yellow squiggle does not look like the price here. But I keep blaming this on weather. And if this is what comes to the oil chart next, as I suspect it will, then I will blame all of this on the weather for Nat Gas and all of this on a knee-jerk reaction to the news. Okay, and my auntie thinking now's a good time to buy $1 billion of oil. Not that she has the facility to do so, but, you know, that's what she would do. And I don't think that's the right side of the trade, but we'll see. Obviously, if you were long in here, then keep pushing it until it breaks down. Like, you know, you're slaying it. And obviously, I didn't foresee this coming either. But, you know, how many more times am I going to say that? How likely is it we see a lost decade for Bitcoin? Highly unlikely, I think. And the reason I say that is because the supply is finite. There's a lot of institutions buying it. Sailor's going to keep bidding it. People like me are going to keep bidding it. And there's no asset on earth that responds to printing, liquidity, and hype in general, right? Once Bitcoin smashes back through all-time highs, every man and his dog goes, oh my gosh, like, I didn't know this could happen. Oh, time to buy altcoins, right? And then your auntie's telling you now's the time to buy crypto because it's going to change the world. It's just how it works. So no one cares about it when it's going down because it's really volatile and hard to hold. And as soon as it gets to new highs, every man and his dog will want to buy it again. So I don't really think the lost decade for Bitcoin makes sense. I don't think it makes sense cyclically, and I don't think it makes sense fundamentally either. Unless, of course, we don't have any printing at all. Then, what is the real reason for Bitcoin? How can you plan for an inversion in the Dixie? Inversion's kind of a misnomer. It wasn't really an inversion. Inversion is when a half cycle low is forced to a cycle low. I'm not really planning for an inversion. I'm just kind of implying it should come a little bit earlier. It should form somewhere around here, and I've been sort of suggesting it might form a little earlier. But it's not a true inversion. A true inversion would have been about here. So it's a little bit of me misusing that term there. Would there be some good bounce back trades on some airlines? I don't track airlines. Could we do the metals? We've already done the metals, really. There's nothing to say about those. Can you get a free PDF? Yes, you can. Service now looking good. Yep, don't tell everyone, Sam. Love the channel, just joined short in MSTR. Okay, good luck. Yeah, good. Do I live stream every Monday? No, I don't, mate. I don't. But I had to debut Gizmo's new song. That's why we went live today, and because I'm extremely busy this week as well. Was wondering if you could help us down under look at the Australian 10-year. I saw today it's breaking out, but I can't really offer anything other than to tell you it's going up, and you already know that. Yeah, sorry I can't be more help, but I'm just being honest. First time you catch a live stream, congrats. Yeah, I mean, I don't care about fundamentals. Solana we already did. I'm probably really far behind. Pokemon cards are in a bull market. Okay. Get a girlfriend, bruv. Yeah, I don't know. I can't learn about the Pokemon stuff. Do I have any invalidations on your theory? I think we already did that. The missile robot does not stop firing. Okay, we'll see. If you didn't have to pay CGT, would you sell your Bitcoin? No, not really, because I want to keep some exposure in case something insane happens. On a major correction, what sectors are you looking to add? All the normal ones, and probably a bit more commodity focused, a bit less stock focused. For those with traditional investments, should we move out of the stocks of the failed weekly cycle? I mean, that's up to you how you decide to position based on your skill level and how much you believe the cycles and my analysis and everything else. Whatever the S&P did, a major move down. Keep in mind, if I don't know how it works with a 401k, but in the UK, if you've got an actively managed pension fund, which I think most people would have, I certainly did have when I worked back for the man, they were pretty good at pivoting to defense and mitigating drawdowns. Now, that comes at a price of only getting 6% a year for their sort of high risk profile, but they were pretty good at defending the portfolio. So it might not be as at risk as you potentially think it is. Obviously, don't take my word for it. You would have to figure out what you're holding and that kind of thing. Check the USDT chart. It hasn't swept the highs yet, so there's definitely lower to go. Yeah, I don't track that chart either. I know some people do. But it fits with what I'm saying, doesn't it? When alt season? Nice try, bro. I'm not taking the bait. Do you believe in the City of London theory? I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. Do you mean that it's what do you call it? An international territory? If so, I've made a few videos on that in the early days. Well, not a few. I think I mentioned it in one or two videos is the correct way to say it. Happy birthday. It's not my birthday, brother. It's my brother's birthday. That's why we're going fishing. But thanks anyway. Have you finished any studies? I'm not sure what you mean by studies. Like studies of what? Or a new Fed chit is installed. Maybe we'll see. Black Wednesday, maybe. Aliens, Fartcoin, yeah. Wednesday. Any trades out of the gold low? Yes, probably will be. But we'll see. We'll see if the low forms as a higher low yet or not. Bitcoin at 30k likely this year. I have no idea. I have no idea how likely and how low it goes. I would like to think it can hold higher than that. I'd like to think we bottom at like 40 or 50k, but we'll see. Can I check the Nifty? No. Sorry. Solana cooked. I mean, I think most alts are cooked. Most crypto looks pretty cooked. You are not contrarian here, not at all. Everyone assumes this is just another stupid American adventure that can be backed out of. Well, tell that to my auntie and my cousin and my entire comment section that keeps saying this. And Twitter. And Jim Cramer. I could be wrong, but I disagree respectfully. Anal OS, yeah. What happened to all my comments? Oh, they're gone. I don't know where I am. I was so far behind. Any updates on the indicator? Coming soon, and some lifetime packages. We're always working on stuff, but obviously we got to get it right. Could you explain the Wolf setup, long-term versus trading setup again? You got confused. Not really. They're the same setup. So as soon as Wolf was stopped, the long-term account trade is invalidated as well, because that's why the stop is the stop for a reason. It's because that's where the trade invalidates. Summit US China in a few weeks. I don't know. Now it sounds like narrative, bro. What kinds of fish are you catching? Sea fish. But in March in the UK, it's known as like no serious sea angler will go fishing in March in the UK because all of the winter fish have left in March and none of the summer fish have arrived yet. So we'll be extremely lucky to find anything scratching about there. But we're going to try anyway. If not, bottle of rum. My brothers, we're going to have a laugh. So I can't really lose. Yeah, we'll try it. When are we buying that Rolex chart? Rolex is in the middle of a counter trend bounce, so we'll think about that soon. I'll pull that up in a moment. How to identify the start of a cycle count on an asset from a fresh, or do you have a video on this? You have to go onto the monthly time frame and pick all the monthly pivots, and then go onto the weekly and fit the weekly cycles inside, and then go onto the daily and fit the daily cycles inside, and that's how that works. I believe that's in the PDF that I wrote. Have a quick look at Rolex. I am human. Here we go. Is the bottom in? Maybe. I don't think so, though. You remember I drew two patterns here? I said like this, range, and then a range break. And we can talk about buying the range break. That should look probably more like this, of course. And the other one I said was maybe we get kind of like this, one low, a bump and run, and then we can talk. Okay, so I wonder if that's what's coming next, like that Bitcoin bottom from 2018. We'll see. You treat yourself to some Camel content. Thank you, bro. Read today that 20 million Bitcoin are now mined, only 1 million left. Yeah, but it kind of like exponentially decays or whatever the term is, doesn't it? So what about used Honda Civic, Solana? I don't know, man. I don't know. Thoughts on STRC? I mean, happy days if they can deliver and if strategy doesn't blow up. Probably won't, but who knows? I have no idea. What do people mean when they ask for a free PDF? You can download everything I know about cycles in a PDF. And sometimes people email me and ask for a free one and I send them a free one. Just joining. Possible NASDAQ short. Yep. Now at daily cycle failure. I don't know. I think we're pretty late in the daily cycle. So if you're nimble and can be in and out pretty quickly, fine. But we're getting dangerous close to a daily cycle. So some level of upside is probably right around the corner, I would think. Do you think we would see a dip in TOT around April? Yes, I do. A lot of 401ks have boomer long-term investment options. I'm not sure what you mean. Power law suggests... Power law's broken already though, isn't it? Pretty sure. Maybe not. What are my thoughts on the agricultural sector? I think coming out of the 4-year low late this year, it will be a focus. but it's not really for me now. I know wheat and stuff people are getting excited about. Some of these are probably going to pop, but I just don't think now's the time. Does a spike in energy or oil cost impact mining profitability? Yeah, it does. So that could definitely be a headwind. Thinking about trying to push out the down movements using the VIX. I mean, it's possible. Circle, it's not on my list now, but it is for the end of the year, as is the theme on this channel. Diamond hand in Charizard. Okay. Do you risk management 2% of the portfolio based on cash position or current, based on the overall account size? What is the higher thought? You assume I have higher thoughts. Very bold of you to assume that. Behind the cycle system, is it just plain assumption of philosophical idea? I don't know. I think it's just a code of the universe, similar to gravity or the speed of light, or the fact you feel pain if you jab something sharp in your hand. There we go. Morning. Yep. Got a weird feeling that we might get 200 plus days of ranging. I don't think so. Any chance we could look over CRISPR? I don't know what CRISPR is. What are your thoughts on the Clarity Act? No real thoughts, to be honest. Rum, indeed. If now comes back down, is it a buy setup? I don't know. If we start to lose that trend line, I'm going to be suspicious that the trade's going to fail because, the backdrop here is pretty bearish. A pirate's life for me. What's that say? Blantons. I don't know what that means. All UK fish are coming back from Dubai. You feel like a Bitcoin cycle low will line up with a narrative. Yeah, it might do. Pokemon cards. I don't know about this. You guys are super excited about that. I think I'm too old for Pokemon, to be honest with you. Who taught you cycle theory? I'm self-taught. I learnt from all of the big cycle traders. Charles Nenner, Bob Lucas, Bressert Hurst, and a few others. And then kind of took the best elements from each of them. Aliens taught me, indeed. When I rebuy crypto stocks on yearly cycle lows, will you rebuy the losers? I don't know. I think it depends on what they look like when they're down there. Do I see base precious metals? It's not really something I'm paying much attention to be honest. When crypto payment for membership, legacy is still difficult. I don't think crypto payment is coming because it just makes our life so much harder. It's already quite hard as it is due to the nature of the product. Everything has to be regulated and it's already a bit of a pain because there's so many scam companies out there that even if you've got a legitimate company, the kind of default is to just assume you're running a scam. So we're already like super heavily scrutinized, already kind of difficult to kind of prove that we have a legitimate product because they don't even want to hear you out first. They just assume you're a scammer and then try to ban everything. And then you have to apply and be like, oh, look, it's a real product. And even then they're like, yeah, we don't like it. And you're like, well, you didn't even look. And then eventually they go, oh, okay, you're like one of the ones that is not scamming. And then you're allowed to actually charge people. But when you add crypto payment on top, it suddenly, makes the whole thing really difficult. So I don't know if we're probably ever going to accept crypto. Never say never, but unless it becomes, like completely mainstream adopted and it's just normal, then yeah, it's probably not coming for any length of time in the foreseeable future. Have I seen Professor Yang? I have, yes. Quite impressed with him, to be honest with you. I think he has some flaws like any human, but generally speaking, very impressed with him. Would it be dumb? No, that's up to you, really. Top shelf whiskey. Oh, Blanton. Oh, okay. I'm not a whiskey guy. I'm a rum guy, really. And I'm also a cheap date. So if I'm just going to drink it and get drunk, I don't really need the expensive stuff. Don't fade Auntie. I mean, maybe Auntie's right. Maybe she is. Why do you think ETH is not below April lows yet? I don't know. April lows? What April lows? These April lows. Wait, these April lows. Well, probably just because how many percentages is this? It's already down 64%, 65%, top to bottom-ish. So does it need to sweep this low? Not yet. But I still reckon something like this. This is what I think we're doing. Something like this bit. We'll find out. A lot of people got really mad at me about this, but I just think 4-year cycle failure actually makes a lot of sense here. But we'll see. We'll see. Why hasn't gold broken the fourth angle? Why hasn't gold broken a fourth angle in your view, since you expect higher? Well, it has broken a fourth angle, I think. I just expect higher. Just think the structure doesn't really look like it. Yeah, you can have a free PDF. Nat gas will also have a major cycle low. I think so, yeah, as will almost everything. Did I go to NZ when you were young? Gave a dude a nickname and he went back to the UK. Nah, I don't know what NZ is. New Zealand? No, I didn't. It wasn't me. Go long on hog futures. Okay, if you want to. Did anyone bring up the private credit debacle yet? No, they didn't. And it's not something I'm tracking. As, people I think by now should probably have figured out that I don't really track much. Cycles are in control. Pokemon turned 30 this year. Did it? Wow. I'm getting super old, apparently. Cards are a boomer asset. They're not a boomer asset. They're not. Yeah, Yang, is that how you pronounce his name? Yang. I think he's got some really good stuff on the occult and that type of stuff, and the psychology behind it, actually. How's the little boy doing? He's doing great, thank you. He's doing really good. He's like going through all the normal stuff a 7-month-old goes through, growing pains and teething and whatever else. He's also mad frustrated all the time because he can just about crawl now. I think he's a bit late to starting to crawl because he's big. I think apparently the bigger they are, the slower they progress for like crawling, which makes sense. They need more muscle to move themselves. But yeah, generally speaking, he's good. He's just mad frustrated. I feel bad for him all the time. But he's doing good. If you invite me to your wedding, since you paid for it, will you come, please? No, I won't. But I'm glad you're getting married. Congratulations. A lot of people are quick to be like, "Don't do that. It's the worst thing ever." But I think it's great. So congratulations. Can you get a free PDF? I don't know. Can you? What does a PDF contain? It's just everything I know about cycle trading. Sus circle. Yeah, I don't know. Weirdly enough, I drew 2 squiggles and it cut right through the middle. Look. But this makes sense to me, because you've got to think it's kind of crypto related, right? And, well, not kind of crypto related. It is crypto related. So it's probably got a 4-year low when everything else bottoms. I don't know. That's my logic. I'm sticking with it. How long do you think it take the CBDC train to arrive fully? I don't know. Probably like 2030 to 2033, I would imagine. Can we look at Moderna? No. Breakout on oil, is it sustainable? No, I think we've already done oil to death. Could you request a free PDF? You can always try. Do you use any other analysis along with cycles, GAN, Klondike? No, I don't. I use trend lines. Think about switching your pension from high risk to dollar obligations. I mean, come on, I'm not a pension advisor here, bro. To be honest, I couldn't possibly answer something like this without first asking you 25 questions. Otherwise I'd just be giving you an irresponsible answer. There's so many factors that I need to be aware of before I could even begin to think about what the best options would be. Buy baby Camel some sealed Pokemon cards. Bro, no, I want him to have a girlfriend. Like, what is it? What's wrong with you guys? Okay. Thoughts on, I don't know what that is. Kind of looks like now. There's a few that look like now. I think Oracle's got the same shape. How's the wife and mistress getting along? Damn. Question, how do you decide? An investion? Do you mean investment? No, inversion. Inversion has occurred versus a weekly cycle failure. Well, it confirms if it's an inversion and then rips without looking back, because inversions are indicative of seller exhaustion. Weekly cycle failure doesn't really turn around and rip back. Weekly cycles will stay down until the upcoming weekly cycle's found. Are there any other flights to safety? There are lots. Treasuries, the Swiss franc, metals traditionally, although given the run they've had, I reckon they're probably going to get shaken out a little bit. If you had to leave the West, where would I relocate? I don't know. I don't want to leave. I'm good. Your girlfriend loves Pokemon. Okay. Yeah, but most yours might. Okay, but let's be honest, most don't. Auntie is not single. No. I don't believe you, Ryan. I don't believe you for 1 minute. You wrote the Queen before she passed and asked her for a free PDF, and all you got was a t-shirt with a picture of... Okay. I don't really know Simon Dixon, to be honest. Is he the guy... Do I want to say this? Is he the guy that always posts videos from a gym, but clearly has never used it in his life? Am I thinking of the right guy? Do I think unrealized cap gains tax will sweep across the West? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Did you play any video games? No, not really. No, it's not for me. I don't have the attention span. S&P futures getting smacked. Yeah, maybe. But I mean, we're getting closer to that daily cycle low window, right? So it only kind of makes sense that we're going to see a more accelerated decline relative to what we have been seeing. But remember, don't get trapped into the low, right? Let the low form, set it as invalidation. We'll go from there. How do I pick my names to trade? To be honest, as crazy as this is going to sound, they kind of find me more than the other way around a lot of the time. I stick to my watch list, okay? Like pretty much all of this stuff, the crypto stocks, all of this stuff. Pretty much everything here. Yeah. Everything in this main watch list is like a regular instrument. And then there's a bunch of other stuff that we chop and change between. There are times when we played the FTSE. There's times when we traded like a lot more commodities. There's times when I've traded in individual stocks like the Mag 7 a lot more. Even only a few years ago, you can see me maining Apple and the FTSE 100 and oil as well. I kind of go in and out. It depends. It depends what my read is clear on. Depends what I like at the moment. But I kind of thought like the stocks and gold and Bitcoin would do well for the past year, and then the higher betas on top. And I say the past year, the past cycle, I mean, past 3 years. And then you'll probably see me change my mind again. As we get to these 4-year lows, we'll probably see sort of short-term trades only in the stocks. We'll probably see a whole heap of, gold and silver and commodities, rotation into commodities, less tech and AI and crypto stocks perhaps. I don't know, actually, maybe more crypto stocks and Bitcoin. Depends on the setup, right? Probably some extra stuff. But yeah, stuff finds me, as weird as that might sound. I'm a subscriber to the indicator. I'm assuming the PDF doesn't contain any info not on the site. Pretty much, the site has, I would say the site probably has everything the PDF has, but probably a load more as well. So if you've got I would say if you've got the indicator and the site access, then you don't need the PDF. Camel, unless you want the PDF like contained. Some people like to print it out and have it on their desk. In fact, I know a lot of people have done that, but you probably don't need it if you've got the indicator. Glad to see you too, bro. Do you ever think all the institutional adoption of Bitcoin is forced Bitcoin to become centralized in the future? No, I don't think so. Let me just check my timer. Oh, 2 seconds left. Look at that. Okay. Wait, we're making good time. I will set a 10-minute timer. And then we'll get out of here. And maybe for the first time ever. It won't be a 4-hour stream. Dixon is the original Bitcoin cypherpunk. Yeah. I'm not sure who I mean then. I'm not sure necessarily. Yeah, I think that's the guy. Right? That's not who I was thinking of. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know how to use a computer, apparently.
My wife said,
These AI adverts are crazy. I don't even think this is it. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm pretty sure it's him I was thinking of, though. He used to stream a lot from his home gym. Are you buying a house as an investment? No, that's depends what you mean. Like, am I going to rent it out and stuff? Nah, not. I would never do that. It's just not in my. I haven't got time. At all for any of that kind of. I know there's a lot of people in here that are like property tycoons. Maybe not in here right now, but a lot of Camel Crew members that own loads and loads of rental properties and stuff. But I cannot be bothered to do all of that and manage it and have to report it all and stuff like that. So it's not for me. No. You should teach baby camel how to surf. I don't know. I'm not built for the sea. I get cold very easily. I don't like the sea. I'm not really big into it, so he probably will have to learn surfing from someone else. If you have the indicators, anything, I think we've already been here. Unrealized gains, I'm not worried about. As bearish as everything looks, you believe we can have one more spike. Yeah, we might have out of that daily cycle low, and then it will kind of look like a normal, what do you call it, like that trap high before this. So you get this kind of sideways, quick fake out, and then we spill. I wouldn't be surprised if we get that, just to max pain everyone. But we'll see. But you have the attention span for chemistry. Yeah, I mean, not necessarily. I don't know what it is, but like, I just can't sit there and do video game stuff. It just annoys me. The same with TV. I don't like TV and movies and anything like that, really. But I have the attention span to stare at like trading stuff all day and watch that kind of stuff. It's weird, isn't it? You like what you like, I guess. Does your auntie really call you Camel? No, she doesn't. What are the intervals between the weekly cycle lows? How can I learn this? Watch the tutorial playlist or buy the PDF or go on the website and take it off of there. How do you see the possibility of a what? Structural long-term deflation, demographic decline. I don't know, bro. I don't know. just let the inflation fall, and we'll worry about it later. Throughout the bear market, could you give some ideas on what you believe drives cycles? There's nothing that drives them. I don't think. I really don't think so. I think they're just part of the universe, really. How do you generally find the individual stocks? Oh, I've fallen way behind this chat again. Welcome to being a level 3 member, by the way. Hey, Traveler Jeff. If you want to pay with crypto, just get a card. Yep. Okay. Have you managed to code your strategy into a back-testable format? Yes, we have. We've got a whole heap of that stuff coming in the future. We've got the back-tested data coming out with a new update, which I think we're just putting the finishing touches on. I got an email today to say there's a new working version of the indicator for me to review. So that must mean the next update is pretty close. And that's the update, remember, that includes things like the new tools, the bonus indicators, the custom count running, and a bunch of other crazy stuff. What do you think MSTR high would be in the next cycle? I don't know, but I do think we could probably go higher than the high from this cycle, believe it or not. Because if they just keep buying more Bitcoin and they don't have to sell any, and then they don't blow up, and then Bitcoin goes into a new bull market catalyzed by record printing, like, it has to make new highs, doesn't it? I think so. Not has to, in the literal sense of the word, but you've got to think it's got, a new high left in it, I would think. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I don't really know Simon Dixon. I don't really know him. They will print desperately to avoid permanent deflation. Yeah, that's what I think too. Look at DoorDash. I don't know what DoorDash is. Honestly, bro, follow the previous cycles. Oh, sorry. Okay. Top indicator. I don't know. I can't put a date on it yet, but we'll get it out as soon as I'm happy to put my name on it. As soon as we need it to work, right? It's no good just releasing it and then it doesn't work, or it fires loads of false signals. So, let us sort it out. There's plenty of time for that. You just realized you didn't answer my question because I asked them the wrong way. What are my thoughts on this and this? I don't know what TTWO is, and GTA 6 is not out yet, is it? I don't know. Do you have any tips for building exposure other than cycles? Yeah, there's a tutorial on breakout trading and how to trade breakouts and momentum stocks in the tutorial playlist. You could check that out. US 10-year yield, I'm guessing, is still backing up, right? Yeah, another lower high. Hopefully a rollover from here. I'll do DoorDash while we're here. I'm not sure what to think of that, really. Probably still down for another daily cycle into the weekly cycle, and then we can talk about maybe getting a breakout. Down in here, breakout, maybe. Buy Stratton and ISA for the UK. Yeah, for a leverage bet on Bitcoin. Yeah, I think so, mate. I do. And in the SIP. And in the JISA, probably. Why Riot didn't move last bull run? I don't know. I mean, it did pretty well off the lows, but I definitely thought it would do better, to be honest. Look at Palladium. Why? We've got 3 minutes left on the timer. Do I see a chance Feb low could be the weekly low on Bitcoin? It's always possible, but we need to move decisively above 80k for me to consider that a real possibility. Palladium, yeah, just watch the daily cycle low, right? Like, should form a daily cycle low any day. Let's turn this on. Might need, oh no, this looks like, might need to change this. Where's the custom count? There, yeah, this one. That was right there. Will it change? Yeah, so just watch for this, okay? Watch for the daily cycle low, and then we'll see. We can set that as invalidation. Is it going to fail the cycle into there? Maybe. That might add some complexity. I was wondering if gold's going to do the same thing. Wait, let's redo these settings. Yeah, and then go here. Yeah, I do wonder. I mean, gold's probably not going to challenge its daily cycle low, but I think some of these other ones might. Can't speak. Silver's probably safe, but I wonder if these miners are going to challenge the cycle failure, and then that would be kind of weird. But whatever, we'll use the daily cycle lows as always. We'll set that as invalidation. That's the final line in the sand. With a bit of luck, we won't have the complexity to deal with, and we'll form a low above these cycle lows, and then that would be nice and easy to interpret. It would get a bit murky if we kind of did this, and then it'd be a little bit difficult to kind of deal with. But whatever, right? We'll give it the benefit of the doubt for now. So yeah, I mean, in the interest of keeping this down to about an hour, there's about 1 minute left. So I think I'll just say this, like, thank you all for being here. Continue to take it one day at a time, right? Continue to manage your risk. Continue to not get too suckered into anything that's going on at the moment, and wait for quality setup to come to you. And from there, I guess we'll just kind of let the cycles guide us as we always do, and see what happens. When's the stream anniversary? My anniversary is on the 22nd of March. And that'll be 4 years of posting to YouTube. So We will try. What day is that actually? That's a Sunday. Might be able to do a Sunday live stream. Celebrate that. Yeah, we'll see, right? We'll see. But thank you all for being here. I hope you found some value. I hope this was a little bit of a change for a Monday. And you're much better at risk management now. Good. I'm glad. Well done. So yeah, have a great week, everyone, right? Welcome to the week. Welcome to Monday. And I hope you all are doing well. And other than that, I guess I'll see you tomorrow. I might not post on Wednesday, so hopefully, don't be too disappointed if I don't. Wish me luck fishing. And otherwise, take care. All the best. Cheers.